Welcome back to Tale from the Veil. Have you ever woken up from a dream, a vivid, world-shattering dream, only to feel it slip through your fingers like sand? You try to hold on, but within minutes, it's just a faint echo, a feeling without a memory. Now, imagine a world where that's happening to everyone, all at once. Not just for a night, but forever. This is the story of Alara and the quiet apocalypse no one saw coming. The Great Forgetting. In our world, not so different from yours, something strange began to happen. People stopped talking about their dreams. At first, it was a subtle shift. The usual morning chatter about bizarre adventures or nightmarish chases simply faded. It was replaced by silence, by a hollow look in people's eyes as they struggled to recall anything from their sleep. They knew they had dreamed. They felt the phantom emotions, but the stories themselves were gone, turned to dust upon waking. Scientists called it spontaneous nocturnal amnesia. The media called it the hush. But the few who understood its true nature called it the Great Forgetting. Humanity was losing its collective subconscious, its wellspring of creativity, hope, and even fear. Our inner worlds were collapsing, and without them, the waking world began to grow gray, muted, and devoid of spark. Art became derivative, innovation stagnated, and a quiet, creeping despair settled over the globe. People were becoming shells, their spirits slowly starving. But in the quiet corners of this fading world, an ancient order, known only as the Weavers, had prepared for this. They were the secret custodians of humanity's subconscious, individuals with the rare ability to not only remember their own dreams, but to see and touch the dreams of others. For millennia, they had watched over the dreamscape, a vibrant, chaotic realm where all our sleeping minds connected. And it was from this order that Alara was chosen. Alara wasn't a warrior or a scholar. She was a librarian in a small, forgotten town, a woman who found more comfort in the stories of others than in her own quiet life. She was unassuming, gentle, and plagued by dreams so vivid they felt more real than her waking hours. She saw cities made of glass and starlight, heard symphonies played on strings of moonlight, and felt the sorrow of forgotten gods. For her, dreams weren't fleeting, they were destinations. One night, an old woman with eyes like cracked constellations appeared in her dream. She introduced herself as Lyra, the last of the Weavers. She explained that the dreamscape was unraveling. A phenomenon, an entity they called the static, was consuming it. It was a formless, colorless void that didn't destroy dreams but simply erased them, turning vibrant narratives into silent, empty dust. It was feeding on our collective imagination, and once it was all gone, humanity would forget how to hope, how to create, how to love. We would simply be. Lyra gifted Alara a small, obsidian orb, cool and smooth to the touch. This is a somnosphere, she explained, her voice a whisper against the growing silence. It will allow you to enter the dreamscape while awake and to capture dreams before the static consumes them. You are now the last dream collector. Your task is to gather what you can, to preserve a fragment of who we were before everything is forgotten. When Alara woke, the somnosphere was clutched in her hand. It was real. Her new reality was terrifying, but the thought of a world without stories was even more so. Her first journey into the waking dreamscape was disorienting. Using the orb, she could see the shimmering, ephemeral threads of dreams hanging in the air around sleeping people. They were beautiful, fragile constructs of light and color. But she could also see the static, a creeping, gray nothingness that advanced like a tide, turning everything it touched to dull, lifeless motes of dust. Her first collection was from a little boy sleeping in the house next door. His dream was a magnificent adventure. He was a knight with a sword made of sunbeams, riding a griffin through candy floss clouds, chasing a giggling star. Alara reached out with the somnosphere, and as the orb touched the dream, the entire scene, the boy, the griffin, The star swirled into a vortex of light and was drawn inside. The orb pulsed with a warm, golden glow. Looking back, she saw the static wash over the space where the dream had been, leaving only emptiness. She had saved it, just in time. And so, her mission began. By night, she traveled the world not in body, but in consciousness. She became a silent thief of memories that would otherwise be lost to oblivion. She collected the dreams of a chef in Paris who was concocting a soup that tasted like a warm hug on a cold day. She captured the dream of a musician in Kyoto, composing a melody that could make the cherry blossoms weep. She gathered nightmares, too, the terror of falling from an endless height, the anxiety of being pursued by a formless shadow, because she understood that fear, too, was a vital part of the human story. Each dream she collected added a new swirl of light and color to the somnosphere. Holding it, she could feel the joy, the terror, the love, and the sorrow of thousands. It was a heavy burden, a symphony of a million souls playing all at once in her mind. But it was also beautiful. It was the essence of humanity. As she traveled, she learned more about the static. It wasn't an evil entity, not in the way we understand it. It was a natural force, like entropy. The universe, in its relentless push towards equilibrium, was smoothing out the chaotic, beautiful mess of human consciousness. The great forgetting wasn't a punishment. It was simply the end of a cycle. But Alara refused to accept that. She saw the fading colors in the waking world. Laughter was becoming rare. People moved with a listless purpose, their eyes vacant. They were alive, but they were no longer living. The spark was almost gone. She knew she couldn't stop the static. It was too vast, too powerful. But she could create a sanctuary, an ark. Her final mission was the most ambitious. She sought out the oldest, most powerful dreams, the archetypes that form the bedrock of our subconscious. She found the dream of the first flight, a memory shared by every human who ever longed to touch the sky. She captured the dream of the hero, the myth that lives in every story of courage. She gently collected the dream of first love, the bittersweet ache that has defined poets and peasants for eons. With each core dream she collected, the somnosphere grew brighter, heavier, pulsing with an almost unbearable power. The static was closing in, the dreamscape now little more than a few scattered islands in an ocean of gray. Alara was exhausted, her own mind frayed from carrying the weight of so many others. In her final act, she took the somnosphere to the highest peak in the dreamscape, a mountain born from humanity's collective aspiration. She held the orb aloft, and with all the strength she had left, she poured her own consciousness, her own memories, her own love for the stories of the world into it. She became the final dream. The orb exploded in a silent cataclysm of light, a supernova of pure imagination. It didn't destroy the static, but it pushed it back, creating a pocket dimension, a self-sustaining universe of dreams. A library of the lost. This new realm, anchored by Alara's sacrifice, became the new dreamscape, a place where the collected dreams could live on, playing out their stories for eternity, waiting. Back in the waking world, the great forgetting was complete. Humanity was calm, orderly, and empty. The last vestiges of creative fire had been extinguished. But sometimes, on the very edge of sleep, a person might feel a strange flicker, a phantom memory of flying, a sudden, inexplicable surge of courage, a faint, sweet echo of a love they've never known. They don't know that these are whispers from Alara's library. They are seeds of forgotten stories, planted in the barren soil of the human mind, waiting for a day when they might once again take root and teach us how to dream. Alara, the last dream collector, is gone, but her collection, her final story, lives on as a silent promise, a testament to the fact that even when all seems lost, a single story can be enough to save the world. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the veil. If this story sparked something in you, consider liking this video and subscribing to Tale from the Veil for more stories from the worlds beyond our own. Until next time, may your dreams be worth remembering.